ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टाप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्ण कृष्णे स्वदामोपगते कृष्णे स्वदामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सकलौ नष्टदृशाम् एषा पुराणार्कोऽधुनोदितः। श्रीमद्भागवतं पुराणममलं यद् वैष्णवानां प्रियं यस्मिन् पारमहंस्यम् एकममलं ज्ञानं परं गीयते। तत्र ज्ञानविरागभक्तिर्सहितं नैष्कर्म्यम् आविष्कृतं तच्छृण्वन् सुपठन् विचारण परो भक्त्या विमुच्य नरः। सर्ववेदान्तसारं हि श्रीभागवतम् ईष्यते तद् रसामृततृप्तस्य नान्यत्र स्याद् रतिः क्वचित्। य एतत् श्रावयन्नित्यं यामक्षणं य अनन्यदीः श्लोकम् एकं तदर्थं वा पादं पादार्थम् एव वा श्रद्धावान् यो अनुशृणुयात् अनुशृणुयात् पुनाति आत्मानम् एव सः कृष्णतुल्यभागवत विभुसर्वस्य सर्वश्रेय प्रतिश्लोके प्रत्यक्षरे नाना अर्थः कया प्रेम मया भागवता कृष्णेरश्रियङ्ग ताः ते कहेन यता गोप्य कृष्णेरङ्ग आदिमध्य अन्त्ये भागवते एकया विष्णुभक्ति नित्यसिद्धि अक्षर अव्यया। भागवत शास्त्रे से भक्तित्वं तत्वं कहे तेनि भागवत समा कोनो शास्त्र न है। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, we will read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5. Do let me if you see Canto 6, chapter 15.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. Okay. Entitled The Saints, Narada and Angira Instruct King Chitraketa. Shri Sukha Uvacha Uchaturmృతకోపాంతే Patitam Mritakopamam Soka Vibhutam Rajanam Bodhayanto Sad Uktibihi. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, while King Chitraketu, overcome by lamentation, lay like a dead body at the side of the dead body of his son, the two great sages Narada and Angira instructed him about spiritual consciousness as follows. Koyam syat tava rajendra bhavan ya anusochati tvam chasya katamah Shrastau Puredanim Atah Param. O king, what relationship does the dead body for which you lament have with you? And what relationship do you have with him? You may say that you are now related as father and son, but do you think this relationship existed before? Does it truly exist now? Will it continue in the future? यथा प्रयान्ति संयान्ति स्रोतो वेगेन बालुकाः संयुज्यन्ते वियुज्यन्ते तथा कालेन देहिनः. O king, as small particles of sand sometimes come together and are sometimes separated due to the force of the waves, the living entities who have accepted material bodies sometimes come together and are sometimes separated by the force of time. यथा दानाशु वै दाना भवन्ति न भवन्ति च एवं भूतानि भूतेषु चोदितानि च मायया. When seeds are sown in the ground, they sometimes grow into plants and sometimes do not. Sometimes the ground is not fertile and the sowing of the seeds is unproductive. Similarly, sometimes a prospective father being impelled by the potence of the Supreme Lord can beget a child, but sometimes conception does not take place. Therefore, one should not lament over the artificial relationship of parenthood while which is ultimately controlled by the Supreme Lord. वयञ्चत्वं च ये चेमे तुल्यकालाश्चराचरा जन्म मृत्योर्यथा पश्चात् प्राणनैवम् अधुनापि भोः. O King, both you and we, your advisors, wives, and ministers, as well as everything moving and not moving, throughout the entire cosmic cosmos at this time are in a temporary situation. Before our birth, this situation did not exist, and after our death, it will not exist no longer. It will exist no longer. Therefore, our situation now is temporary, although it is not false. भूतैर्भूतानि भूतेश सृजन्त्यावति हन्ति च आत्मा सृष्टेरव अस्वतन्त्रैर् अनपेक्षोऽपि बालवत्. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Master and Proprietor of everything, is certainly not interested in the temporary cosmic manifestation. Nonetheless, just as a boy at the beach creates something in which he is not interested, the Lord, keeping everything under his control, causes creation, maintenance, and annihilation. He creates by engaging a father to beget a son. He maintains by engaging a government or king to see to the public's welfare. And he annihilates through agents for killing, such as snakes. The agents for creation, maintenance, and annihilation have no independent potency, but because of the spell of illusory energy, one thinks himself the creator, maintainer, and annihilator. देहेन देहिनो राजन् देहात् देहो अभिजायते बीजात् एव यथा बीजं देहि अर्थ इव शाश्वतः. As from one seed another seed is generated, O king, so from one body, the body of the father, through another body, the body of the mother, a third body is generated, the body of a son. As the elements of material body are eternal, the living entity who appears through these material elements is also eternal. देहदेही विभागोऽयम् अविवेककृतः पुरा जाति व्यक्ति विभागोऽयम् यथा वस्तुनि कल्पितः. Divisions of generalization and specification, such as nationality and individuality, are the imaginations of persons who are not advanced in knowledge. श्रीसुक उवाच एवम् आश्वासित राजा चित्रकेतुर्द्विजो द्विजोक्तिभिः विमृज्य पाणिना वक्त्रम् म्लानम् अभाषत. Sri Shukadeva Goswami continued. Thus enlightened by the instructions of Narada and Angira, King Chitraketu became hopeful with knowledge. Wiping his shriveled face with his hand, the king began to speak. Sri Raja Uvacha Kau Yuvam Jnana Sampanno Mahishthau Cha Mahiyasham Avadune Avadune Avadhutena Vishena Gudha Iha Samagato. King Chitraketu said, "You have both come here dressed like Avadhutas, liberated person, just to cover your identities. But I see that of all men, you are the most elevated in awareness. You know everything as it is, therefore, you are the greatest of all great personalities. Charanti hi avanau kamam brahmana bhagavat priyaha madrisham gramya buddhinam bodhayonmatta linginaha. Brahmanas who are exalted to the position of Vaishnavas, the most dear servants of Krishna, sometimes dress like madmen, just to benefit materialists like us who are always attached to sense gratification and just to dissipate our ignorance. These Vaishnavas wander on the surface of globe according to their desire. Kumaro Narado Rudbhur Angira Devalo Sitaha Asitaha Apantaratama Vyaso Markandeyoth Gautamaha Vasishto Bhagavan Ramaha Kapilo Bhatara Yanihi Durvasa Yajnavalkyascha जातो कर्णस्तथारुणिः रोमसाश्च चवनो दत्ता आसुरी सपताञ्जलिः ऋषिर्वेदा शिरादौम्यो मुनिः पञ्चशिखस्तथा हिरण्य हिरण्याभः कौशल्यः श्रुतदेव ऋतध्वजः एते परे च सिद्धेशा चरन्ति ज्ञानहेतवः. O great souls, I have heard that among the great and perfect persons wandering the surface of the earth to instruct knowledge to people covered by ignorance are Sanat Kumara, Narada, Ribhu, Angira, Devala, Asita, Apantaratama, Vyasadeva, Markandeya, Gautama, Vashishta, Bhagavan Parashurama, Kapila, Shukadeva, Durvasa, Yagyavalkya, Jatukarna, and Aruni. Others are Romasa, Chavana, Dattatreya, Asuri, Patanjali, the great sage Daumya, who is like the head of the Vedas, the sage Panchashikha, Hiranyabha, Kaushalya, Shrutadeva, Ritadvacha, you must certainly be among them. तस्मादिवां ग्राम्य पशोर्मम मूढ धियपभो अन्धे तमसि मग्नस्य ज्ञानदीप उदीर्यताम्. Because you are great personalities, you can give me real knowledge. I am as foolish as a village animal like a pig or a dog, because I am merged in the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, please ignite the torch of knowledge to save me. श्री अङ्गीरुवाच अहं ते पुत्रकामस्य पुत्रदोऽस्मि अङ्गीरा नृप एष ब्रह्म सुतः साक्षान् नारदो भगवान् ऋषिः. Angira said, My dear king, when you desired to have a son, I approached you. Indeed, I am the same Angira Rishi who gave you this son. As for this Rishi, he is the great sage Narada, the direct son of Lord Brahma. इत्थं त्वां पुत्रशोकेन मग्नं तमसि दुस्तरे अथ अर्हम् अनुस्मृत्य महापुरुषगोचरम् अनुग्रहाय भवतः प्राप्त्वा आवाम् इह प्रभो ब्रह्मण्यो भगवद्भक्तो नावासादितुम् अर्हसि. My dear king, you are an advanced devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be absorbed in lamentation for the loss of something material is unsuitable for a person like you. Therefore, we have both come to relieve you from this false lamentation, which is due to your being merged in the darkness of ignorance. For those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge, to be affected by material loss and gain is not at all desirable. तदेव ते परं ज्ञानं ददामि गृहम् आगतः ज्ञात्वान्याभिनिवेशं ते पुत्रम् एव ददामहम्. When I first came to your home, I could have given you the supreme transcendental knowledge, but when I saw that your mind was absorbed in material things, I gave you only a son who caused you jubilation and lamentation. अधुना पुत्रीणां तापो भवतैवानुभूयते एवं दारा गृहारायो विविधैश्वर्यसम्पदः शब्दादयश्च विषयाश्च चला राज्या विभूतयः महिराज्यं बलं कोशो भृत्यामात्या सुहृज्जनाः सर्वेऽपि सुरासेने मे शोकमोहो भयार्तिदा गन्धर्वनगर प्रख्याः स्वप्नमाया मनोरथाः. My dear king, now you are actually experiencing the misery of a person who has sons and daughters. O king, owner of the state of Surasena, one's wife, his house, the opulence of his kingdom, and his various other opulences and objects of sense perception are all the same in that they are temporary. One's kingdom, military power, treasury, servants, ministers, friends, and relatives are all cause of fear, illusion, lamentation, and distress. They are like a Gandharva Nagara, a non existent palace that one imagines to exist in the forest. Because they are impermanent, they are no better than illusions, dreams, and mental concoction. दृश्यमानाविनार्थेन न दृश्यन्ते मनोभवाः कर्मभिध्यायतो नाना कर्माणि कर्माणि मनसो भवम्. These various objects like wife, children, and property are like dreams and mental concoctions. Actually, what we see has no permanent existence. It is sometimes seen and sometimes not. Only because of our past actions do we create such mental concoctions, and because of these concoctions, we perform further activities. अयं हि देहिनो देहो द्रव्यज्ञान क्रियात्मकः देहिनो विविधः क्लेश संतापकृत् उदाहृतः. The living entities in the bodily conception of life is absorbed in the body, which is a combination of physical elements, the five senses for gathering knowledge, and the five senses of action, along with the mind. Through the mind, the living entity suffers three kinds of tribulations: Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, and Adhyatmika. Therefore, this body is a source of all miseries. तस्मात् स्वस्थेन मनसा विमृश्य गतिम् आत्मनः द्वैत ध्रुवार्थ विश्रम्भम् त्यजोपशमम् आविश. Therefore, O King Chitraketu, carefully consider the position of the Atma. In other words, try to understand who you are, whether body, mind, or soul. Consider where you have come from, where you are going after giving up this body, and why are you under the control of material lamentation. Try to understand your real position in this way, and then you will be able to give up your unnecessary attachment. You will also be able to give up the belief that this material world or anything not directly in touch with service to Krishna is eternal. Thus you will obtain peace. श्रीनारद उवाच एतां मन्त्रोपनिषदं प्रतीच्छ प्रयतो मम यां धारयन् सप्तरात्रात् दृष्टा सङ्कर्षणं विभुम्. The great sage Narada continued, My dear king, attentively receive from me a mantra which is most auspicious. After accepting it from me, in 7 nights you will be able to see the Lord face to face. यत्पादमूलम् उपसृत्य नरेन्द्रपूर्वे सर्वादयो ब्रह्मम् इमं द्वितयं विसृज सद्यः तदीयम् अतुलानधिकं महित्वं प्रापुर्भवान् अपि परं न चिरात् उपैति. My dear king, in former days, Lord Shiva and other demigods took shelter of the lotus feet of Sankarsana. Thus, they immediately got free from the illusion of duality and achieved unequaled and unsurpassed glories in spiritual life. You will very soon attain that very same position. Hare Krishna. Here ends this chapter 15 from 6th Canto titled The Saints Narada and Angira instruct King Chitraketu. Hare Krishna. So, the situation of Kritadhyuti and Chitraketu was so much that it was terrible. They were in that mourning for loss of their son. And while this was so much, then Narada Muni and Angira Rishi, they came to the spot and they started giving instructions. And these instructions are so valuable. Why? Because um, it tells about reality. This is the purpose here. We can see the purpose is to understand. the reality of the world where we are living, and also build a sense of what is plan of action, because the world we live is not reality. uh, or sorry, the relations are temporary. The world where we are living is permanent, but the relationships are not permanent. So, in fact, in the purport, Prabhupada mentions the instructions given by Narada and Angira Muni are the true spiritual instructions for the illusioned, conditioned soul. This world is temporary, but because of our previous karma, we come here and accept bodies, creating temporary relationships in terms of society. In terms of society, friendship, love, nationality, and community, which are all finished at death. Mm. So, it's quite philosophical, but it's also very, very simple, because we can see what happens in the lives. A person who has played a role of a mother or a father or a brother or sister, doesn't matter. Yeah, when he had to leave the world, when he dies, all the relationships one may still connect it to, but the person is gone. The misunderstanding of the conditioned soul is the bodily conception of life. The body is material, but within the body is the soul. This is the spiritual understanding. Dehi nosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatra muhyati. So if we become dhira, the quality, what is called dhira is one who has dhairya, one who has patience. Uh, when these things are changing to be steady, such a person, dhiras tatrana muhyati, one should not lament or be sorrow for that. Hmm. So the example given here, when the seeds are sown in the ground, it can become a plant or not. It depends on the soil. Hmm. Yeah, how sometimes the ground is not fertile and the sowing seed is non-productive or unproductive. Similarly, sometimes a prospective father, being impelled by the potency of the Lord, may not beget child. Hmm. So Chitraketu was actually not destined to get a son, in the purport Prabhupada mentions. But therefore, although he married hundreds and thousands of wives, all of them proved barren, and he could not beget even one child. When Angira Rishi came to see the king requested. So, because of the blessings of Angira Rishi, that's why Chitraketu had a son. Otherwise, he is not in that. He doesn't has that Sukriti. Therefore, in the beginning, Angira Rishi told king that he would beget a child who would cause his lamentation and jubilation. So, I mean, I will not go through all the purports, but here Chitraketu was not destined to get a child by providence or the will of the Lord, just as a sterile grain cannot produce more grain. A sterile person, by the will of the Lord, cannot get beget a child. Sometimes a child is born even to an impotent father and sterile mother, and sometimes a potent father and fertile mother are childless. So all these things happen. So anyway, we must conclude that our arrangement of so-called scientific knowledge cannot determine what will take place. These are all arrangements of the Supreme Lord according to our desires, hmm, under the spell of Maya. In devotional life, therefore, one should not desire anything, since everything depends on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there is this verse, Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi, Anavrutam, Anukulyena Krishnanu Sriram, Bhaktir Uttam. Hmm. So, for everything else, one should act only for to develop Krishna consciousness. For everything else, one should fully depend upon the Supreme Person. We should not create plans that will ultimately make us frustrated. Hare Krishna. We cover from here, from sixth verse next week, and go through the purports. What Narad Muni is telling to King Chitraketu. Hare Krishna. Any thoughts before we close the call? No. Yeah, then wish you a nice weekend and we see us next week. Panchakalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, जय गौर। ठीक है।